Hey, it's Vaughn here at your jazzdrumschool.com YouTube channel. Aloha, hope you're doing well. So in this lesson, let's learn about how to mix our drums. Now when I say mix, I don't mean get on the mixing console and make the kick louder and the snare drum pop more and things like that. I'm talking about our natural mix, how we as drummers mix our drums, how we adjust the volumes of our different instruments. Remember, the drum set is a collection of instruments. So how are we adjusting our mix in order to fit the style of music we're playing? All right, so different styles of music require that we play the drums differently. So if I'm playing jazz, for example, I'm playing some jazz swing, my ride cymbal and my hi-hat are going to be the dominant voices. My snare drum and my kick drum are going to be the supportive voices. Now let me play it a couple different ways for you. First, I'll play it for you the way that I want you to play it, where it's really nicely balanced, where the ride cymbal and the hi-hat are leading. The second example, I'm going to ratchet up the snare drum and the bass drum. We're doing some kind of comping patterns, and you can check out comping patterns and learn how to comp on the drums in my jazz drum comping course. But what I'm going to do here is just use some of those patterns, some of those ideas, and I'm going to kind of overplay it with my bass drum and my snare drum. All right, so check out the two versions. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. A two, 1, 2, 3. All right, so which version do you like? Probably the first one, right? Especially if you're a piano player or a bass player or a guitar player or a horn player or a vocalist. That's what you want to hear. You don't want to hear number 2. So the first version is really mixed beautifully and perfectly for the kind of music we're going to play, right? We don't want to overpower everybody, because in jazz swing, especially in jazz music in general, we really want to blend with everybody. We don't want to overpower everybody. And the bass drum and the snare drum are really the loudest voices on the kit. So if we overuse those, we're not going to hear the rest of the band. All right, now let's move on to a rock beat. I'm going to play a rock beat for you now, and I want you to hear the difference in how things are mixed. It's pretty interesting. So what I'll do is I'll kind of start off the way that it's supposed to be done, and I'm going to play that heavy kick drum, heavy snare drum, and the hi-hat or the ride cymbal will be more kind of extra, right? Kind of supporting those roles. And then the next version, I'll flip it. So I'll make the bass drum and the snare drum really, really soft, and I'll play really much harder with my ride cymbal and my hi-hat. All right, check it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Pretty interesting, right? Kind of strange. The bottom drops out, like there's nothing there. So again, you can see, right? The amplification of rock music or pop music, it makes it really important that we accentuate that kick drum and that snare drum. Now, one last style I want to touch on is samba. And samba is an interesting case because most of the time when drummers are learning how to play samba for the first time, they're really heavy with a bass drum. And that's actually not the desirable mix. The mix that we want is where the hands are really articulated. And the bass drum is actually more in a supportive role, okay? Now, the left foot is also keeping some time or playing some time, but it's really just kind of supporting the overall articulation of the hands. The drum we really have to be careful about is that bass drum. So now, let me give you an example of how to play it correctly the first time, okay? The correct mix, the balanced mix. And then I'm going to play really heavy with the bass drum the second time. Also notice the first time when I'm playing, I'm accenting a little bit on the bass drum. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of imitating the sound of a surdo drum. So I'm going 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, boom. So I'm trying to get that boom, boom, okay? That's what I want out of my bass drum. I want it to have that kind of feel to it, and that's really desirable. And that's a kind of a more advanced level of mixing with your bass drum, rather than playing all your bass drum notes the same volume, whether it's soft or loud. But this is a kind of more advanced way to do it. But I really encourage you to play this way, and that should be your goal, because that's really going to make everything groove so much nicer. Now, if you want to learn how to play samba and other kinds of grooves, Brazilian grooves, check out my Brazilian drumming course. All right, you ready? Check it out. 1, 2, 1, 2. A 1, 2. So could you hear the difference? Really, one was just right in the pocket, nicely balanced. The other one was just over the top. So it's important that we think about mix in how we play our drums. Our mix is going to completely and totally impact everything else that's going on in the music, especially in a jazz music situation. So you really want to pay attention to that and adjust what you're doing to fit the mix of the music that you want to play. Thanks so much for watching, and if you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like the video if you like it. That helps it get around YouTube a lot easier, and drop a comment. Let me know if this video was helpful for you, and if you have any other tips you'd like to share with us about how you get a good mix on your kit. All right? Keep swinging, my friend.